It really does feel like the legal world's just caught in this whirlwind of AI right now.
Absolutely. It's a,
Billions of dollars being poured into it.
yeah,
And the whole legal profession's kind of scrambling to figure out, what's truly groundbreaking and what's just hype.
trying to separate the signal from the noise.
Right, exactly.
And that's, I think, why a lot of people are tuning in today.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to get a handle on, what's actually important, what's
Yeah.
going to make a difference.
Yeah, and make it make sense for you.
Absolutely.
Like how do you stay ahead of the curve with all this stuff flying around? So we do these deep dives
Right.
to try to bring some clarity.
Yeah, we sift through the noise for you so you don't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
And today we've got a particularly juicy study to dig into.
Yeah, this one really caught my eye, this AI-powered lawyering. AI reasoning models, retrieval augmented generation, and the future of legal practice. It's out of the University of Minnesota. And the thing that I think is really important here is that this isn't just, someone's opinion piece.
Right.
It's an actual empirical study.
Yeah, it's grounded in data,
Yeah.
which is so important in this field where there's just so much speculation.
Exactly.
So this study is the first randomized controlled trial that's really looking at two of the hottest topics in AI right now. Retrieval augmented generation, which is often shortened to RAG,
Right.
and these new AI reasoning models,
Sure.
putting them through their paces in like real legal tasks.
Yeah, with real lawyers. I mean, law students.
Yeah, upper level law students. So,
Not just theoretical.
not just hypothetical. Yeah, they were doing actual legal work.
Yeah, exactly. The kind of stuff that lawyers are doing every day, drafting client emails, legal memos,
Yeah, contracts, motions,
NDAs,
well,
like the real deal.
the whole gamut.
And they compared how those students did using these new AI tools
Right.
to a group that didn't have any AI help at all.
It's exactly a control group, the old-fashioned way.
So what'd they find out?
Well, the bottom line is that using these new AI tools actually led to a significant improvement
Okay.
in both the quality of the work that the students were doing
Interesting.
and how efficiently they were able to do it.
Okay, so better and faster.
Yeah, much better and faster.
And that's actually a pretty big deal.
It is, because some of the early research that was done on older types of AI, and, we're talking kind of late 2022, early 2023.
Yeah, when everyone was first getting excited about this stuff.
Right, exactly. With those general purpose large language models like ChatGPT.
Yeah, ChatGPT, it was all over the news.
It seemed like a revolution.
Right, and everyone was like, oh my God, the legal world is going to change overnight.
Yeah, and there was a lot of genuine excitement because these tools were incredibly impressive
Sure.
at generating text, at processing information.
And at speed, yeah.
It was like nothing we'd seen before.
But then,
reality set in.
yeah, the cracks started to show.
Exactly. And one of the big problems was these hallucinations.
Right, the AI making stuff up.
Making up facts, making up cases, even inventing entire legal citations.
And this is where the rubber hits the road, right?
Yeah.
Because in the legal world,
Accuracy is paramount.
it's everything.
You can't just be making stuff up.
Right, so, and then on top of that, there were the questions about whether these AI models could actually,
Exercise judgment.
make nuanced legal judgments.
Yeah, could they think like a lawyer?
Right. Could they actually reason through a complex legal problem?
And then you had all the ethical concerns.
Especially about confidentiality.
Yeah, client data, privileged information.
It's like, can you trust this stuff with your client's secrets?
It's a huge issue.
Yeah, and I think the case that really brought all this to the forefront was that New York lawyer.
Oh, yeah, the one who filed the brief with the fake cases.
Yeah, generated by ChatGPT.
It was a huge wake-up call for the legal profession.
Right? It's like, okay, this stuff is powerful, but it's not ready to just take over.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it.
So that was sort of like the first chapter of legal AI.
Yeah, I've saw
And now the study is saying, okay, let's look at what's coming next.
the second wave,
The second wave, yeah.
which is these AI reasoning models and a RAG.
Right, so let's dig into that.
Let's do it.
Okay, so first, AI reasoning models.
Yeah.
The study focused on one called O1 Preview from OpenAI.
Right.
And they say that these models are designed to approach problems in a more human-like way.
Yeah, more like how a lawyer would think.
Okay, so can you break that down for me? How are they actually different from those earlier chatbots?
So the key difference is in how they process information.
Okay.
Instead of just like predicting the next word in a sequence, which is how a lot of the earlier chatbots worked,
Mm-hmm.
these reasoning models, they actually dedicate a lot more computational power to planning out their response.
Like thinking ahead.
Yeah, almost like making a mental outline. before they start generating text.
That's interesting. So it's not just about spitting out words, it's about actually trying to structure a coherent argument.
Exactly. And OpenAI was very intentional about
Yeah,
this.
because they switched up their naming convention. Right.
Right. They went to this O1,
Oh,
which was meant to signal a shift.
a shift in what?
A shift in the architecture, in the capability of these models
Oh, okay.
to really emphasize that this is something different.
Something different from ChatGPT and its ilk.
Yeah, this is about complex reasoning.
And they've actually had some success in other fields, right?
Yeah, they've had good results with O1 in things like mathematics and coding.
So it's not just hype, there's some substance to this.
Right.
Okay, so that's reasoning models.
Now let's talk about RAG.
RAG, retrieval augmented generation.
It sounds kind of sci-fi,
It does, a little bit,
but it's actually a pretty simple idea.
okay.
It's about connecting the AI to real legal sources.
Like case law and statutes.
Exactly. Instead of just relying on its general knowledge base.
Which might be wrong or out of date.
Yeah, Arga actually goes and retrieves the relevant documents.
So it's like it does its research.
Yeah, it's like having a research assistant.
That's cool. So it finds the relevant cases, the statutes, whatever.
And then uses that information to generate its response.
Okay, so it's grounded in the actual law. That makes a lot of sense.
And that's really the whole point of Arga, is to reduce hallucinations.
Those made-up facts and cases.
Exactly, to make sure the AI is giving accurate information.
And I guess another advantage is that it makes it easier for humans to check the AI's work, right?
Absolutely. You can actually look at the sources it used.
And see if it's interpreting them correctly.
Transparency is key.
Yeah, so you're not just taking the AI's word for it. The
Exactly.
study mentioned VLEX's Vincent AI as an example of Arga in action.
Yeah, that's one of the leading tools out there.
Are there others?
Oh, yeah. A lot of the big legal research platforms are integrating Arga.
Like Westlaw and LexisNexis?
Yeah, they're all getting on board with this, guys.
Okay, so we have these two new technologies.
Yeah.
Reasoning models and RAG.
And they sound promising.
But how do we know if they actually work in the real world?
That's where this study comes in.
Right, they put it to the test with those Lent students.
Yeah, 127 upper-level law students
Okay.
from 2 different universities, University of Minnesota and University of Michigan.
So it wasn't just like a small, isolated experiment.
No, it was a pretty robust sample.
And you said they gave them realistic legal tasks.
Yeah, 6 different assignments developed with practicing lawyers.
Like what?
So things like drafting a client email, a legal memo, analyzing a complaint, drafting an NDA,
Okay, real stuff.
preparing a motion to consolidate, even writing a persuasive letter.
Trying to convince a judge or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So a good mix of different types of legal work
And they varied the time limits for each task.
to make it more realistic, I guess.
Yeah, to simulate the pressure of a real legal practice.
So how they divide up the students?
They randomly assigned them to one of 3 groups.
Okay,
One group was the control group. They did everything without any AI assistance.
the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, then you had a group that used O1 Preview, the reasoning model,
Okay.
and a group that used Vincent AI, the RE-powered tool.
So it was a fair comparison with the random assignment.
Yeah, that helps control for any differences in the students' abilities.
And they got some training on the AI tools, right?
Yeah, all the students got training on both O1 Preview and Vincent AI.
So they were all starting from the same place.
Exactly.
Okay, so now the big question. How'd they actually measure the quality of the work?
Right, that's the tricky part.
Because it's not like you can just give it a number score.
Yeah, legal work is nuanced.
So what'd they do?
Well, all the assignments were graded blindly by experienced lawyers
Okay.
who had no idea which group the student was in.
That's important to avoid any bias.
Yeah, and they used standardized rubrics to assess the work.
So they were all looking at the same criteria.
Exactly. Things like clarity of writing, accuracy of the legal analysis, depth of reasoning, organization, professionalism.
So a pretty comprehensive evaluation.
Yeah, they really wanted to get a complete picture of the impact of the AI.
And they were also specifically looking for hallucinations, right?
Oh, yeah, they had a separate metric for that.
To see if the AI was making stuff up.
Yeah, that was a big concern.
So, drumroll please, what were the results?
Well, the big takeaway is that both AI tools significantly improved the overall quality of the legal work.
Okay, so AI actually made the work better.
In 4 out of the 6 tasks, yes.
I mean, that's a big deal, right?
It is, especially compared to some of the earlier research on those older language models.
Which were often hit or miss.
Yeah, this suggests that these newer technologies are a real step forward.
So, in what ways was the work actually better?
Well, across the board, both AI tools led to improvements in clarity, organization, and professionalism.
So the writing was clearer, more concise.
Yeah, easier to read and understand.
And better organized, I guess.
Yeah, more logical flow, better structure.
Yeah. And more professional looking overall.
Exactly. Fewer typos and grammatical errors.
So the AI was kind of like a built-in proofreader.
Yeah, in a way.
But what about the actual legal analysis? Did the AI help with that?
It did, especially the O1 preview, the reasoning model.
Okay.
It actually led to a more significant improvement in the depth and nuance of the legal analysis.
Oh, wow. So it wasn't just making the writing better, it was actually helping the students think through the legal issues more deeply.
Yeah, the researchers even said it was a difference in kind, not just a difference in degree.
Like a qualitative leap forward.
Yeah, which is really exciting to see.
Okay, so that's pretty impressive.
But there's a caveat.
Of course, there's always a caveat.
When it came to accuracy, the results were more mixed.
Okay.
Neither AI tool consistently improved accuracy across all the tasks.
That's surprising.
It is, although O1 Preview did show an improvement in accuracy for the complaint analysis task.
Oh, interesting. So it could boost accuracy in some cases?
Yeah, and the researchers think it might be because the key source document for that task was actually provided to the students.
So when the AI had a really solid foundation to work from, it was more likely to get things right.
Make sense?
What about Vincent, the ARAG tool? You'd think that would be really good at accuracy, since it's designed to pull from legal sources.
You would think so, but surprisingly, it didn't always lead to an improvement in accuracy.
Really?
Yeah, and in one task, the persuasive letter task, it actually decreased accuracy.
Wow, that's unexpected.
It was a bit of a head-scratcher.
So ARAG isn't a foolproof solution.
No, it's still early days.
And what about those hallucinations? Did they find any of those?
They did, but here's the interesting part.
Yeah.
Vincent AI, the ARAG-G tool, actually produced fewer hallucinations.
Fewer than what?
Fewer than O1 Preview, and even fewer than the control group.
The students who weren't using any AI at all.
Yeah.
So ARAG actually helps reduce the AI making stuff up.
Yeah, which is a big win for accuracy.
And I guess that makes sense because it's forcing the AI to ground its responses in real sources.
Exactly.
Okay, so out of the 6 tasks, was there anywhere the AI didn't seem to help at all?
Yeah, the NDA drafting task was the one outlier.
Huh. Why do you think that was?
The researchers speculate that it might be because NDAs are more transactional in nature.
Whereas most of the other tasks were more litigation-focused.
Yeah, maybe the AI is better suited for those kinds of tasks.
Interesting.
Plus, the students were given a template for the NDA.
So there wasn't as much room for the AI to add value.
Exactly. If there's already a good structure in place, the AI might not be able to do much more.
Okay, so we've talked about quality. What about speed and efficiency?
Well, the results there were pretty clear-cut.
Okay.
Both AI tools led to significant speed improvements
In how many of the tasks?
in 5 out of the 6.
Well, so again, the NDA being the exception.
Right.
And the time savings were roughly similar between the two tools.
Yeah. O1 Preview and Vincent AI were pretty comparable in that regard.
But what about productivity? You know, the combination of speed and quality.
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
The study found that both AI tools significantly increased productivity by anywhere from 34% to 140%.
Wow, that's a huge boost.
It is, and they saw the biggest gains in those more complex tasks.
Like the persuasive letter and the complaint analysis.
Yeah, exactly.
So the AI was really helping the students work smarter, not just harder.
And the lawyers who graded the assignments also made some interesting observations.
Oh yeah, what did they say?
They noticed that the AI-assisted work was generally easier to read, more polished, concise, and free of basic errors.
So it kind of helped elevate the overall quality of the writing?
Yeah, one grader even said it was like having bumpers in the gutters.
Like in bowling.
Yeah, it helped prevent the students from going way off track.
That's a great analogy.
It kept them in the lane, so to speak.
So the AI was kind of like a safety net.
Yeah, in a way.
What else did the graders have to say?
They thought the AI helped the students focus on the relevant legal issues
Okay.
and streamline their research process.
So they could spend more time actually thinking about the legal arguments.
Exactly, instead of getting bogged down in the research.
But they also pointed out some limitations.
It did. They said the AI wasn't as helpful on tasks that required the students to figure out the key legal issues themselves.
Like the AI couldn't do the thinking for them.
Yeah, it wasn't a substitute for legal reasoning.
And they noticed some instances where the AI wasn't using the best sources.
Yeah, sometimes Vincent would include less relevant citations or rely on non-binding sources.
And O1 Preview still had some hallucinations.
Yeah, occasionally.
So even though the AI can be helpful, it's not perfect.
It still needs human oversight.
And the study also looked at how the AI affected students with different skill levels, right?
Yeah, they found some interesting differences there.
Okay, what were they?
Well, students with lower baseline skills, like a lower GPA or lower scores on the no AI tasks,
So the students who were maybe struggling a bit more.
yeah, they actually saw a bigger improvement in the quality of their work when using O1 Preview.
Interesting. So the reasoning model really helped them step up their game.
It seems like it, yeah.
What about Vincent AI?
Vincent AI was a different story.
Okay.
With Vincent, it was the students with higher baseline skills who saw the bigger boost in productivity.
So the better students were able to leverage the RH tool more effectively.
Yeah, which makes sense. They probably had a better understanding of the legal concepts and how to use the sources.
Right, so it's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
Definitely not.
And what about the top students, the ones who are already doing really well?
Well, that's where things get a little tricky.
How so?
The study found that for the students with the highest baseline skills, using either AI tool could sometimes actually reduce the overall quality of their work.
Really? That's surprising.
It is, but it suggests that maybe those students were relying too much on the AI.
Or that the AI suggestions were leading them away from a better approach.
Possibly. It's definitely something to watch out for.
So it's a reminder that even though these tools can be very helpful, they're not a replacement for good legal judgment.
And human oversight is still essential.
Yeah, the lawyer still needs to be in control.
Absolutely.
And they also surveyed the students after the experiment, right?
Yeah, to get their feedback on the experience.
What did they say?
Well, overall, the feedback was pretty positive.
Oh, okay.
The students generally thought that both AI tools helped them improve the quality and speed of their work.
So they felt like the AI was beneficial,
Yeah, they saw the value in it.
but there was an interesting discrepancy between their perceptions and the actual results, right?
Yeah, the students tended to think that O1 Preview was better for speed and Vincent was better for quality.
Even though the objective data showed that both tools were pretty similar in terms of speed gains.
And that O1 Preview actually had a bigger impact on quality overall.
So sometimes our perceptions don't match reality.
Exactly.
And that's something to keep in mind when you're thinking about using these tools.
Yeah, don't just go by gut feeling. Look at the data.
And in general, how did the students feel about using the AI?
They seem to enjoy it, especially Vincent AI.
It got good reviews.
Yeah, the students found it easy to use and helpful.
But their perceptions of which tasks benefited the most from the AI didn't always align with the actual results.
Right. For example, even though the NDA task didn't show significant quality improvements, the students still thought the AI was helpful for that task.
Interesting.
So there's definitely a learning curve there in terms of understanding how the AI can best be used.
Yeah, and figuring out where it's most effective.
It's not just about using the tools, it's about using them strategically.
Now, the study makes a point of saying that we're probably underestimating the true potential of AI in law because the strengths of RAG and reasoning models can be combined.
Right, and that's something we're already starting to see.
Like with Vincent AI, which uses RAG with older language models.
Yeah, but the real game changer, according to the study, is combining RAG with these new, more advanced reasoning models like O1 Preview.
Because they each bring something different to the table.
Exactly. It's like the analogy they use in the study of a hiker with a map and a compass.
Okay.
RG is like the map that provides detailed knowledge of the terrain.
The legal landscape.
Right. And the reasoning model is like the compass. It helps you navigate the complexities of the legal issues
So together, they can get you where you need to go.
much more effectively than either one alone.
And the thing is, this technology is evolving so quickly.
At an incredible pace.
Like even O1 Preview is already being surpassed by newer models.
Yeah, O3 is already out there, and it's even more powerful.
So we're really just at the beginning of this AI revolution.
It's an exciting time to be in the legal field, that's for sure.
But also a little daunting, I imagine.
It can be, yeah, but the potential is huge.
And that's why the study emphasizes the need for ongoing evaluation, right?
Absolutely. We need to keep studying how these tools are impacting legal work.
And not just rely on those traditional benchmarks.
Right. Those don't always capture the nuances of legal practice.
Well, we need to look at how AI is actually being used by real lawyers in real-world situations.
And that's where randomized controlled trials like this one come in.
Because they can give us a much clearer picture of the AI's true impact.
Yeah, they're the gold standard for this kind of research.
And the study even suggests that law schools should be getting involved in this evaluation process.
Yeah, they argue that law schools should be actively testing AI's impact on legal education.
Like using AI to give students more personalized feedback.
That's one idea. But even more importantly, they say we need to figure out how AI might affect the development of those core legal skills.
Like critical thinking and legal analysis.
Exactly, because those are the skills that lawyers will need to thrive in this new AI-powered world.
So for you, the listener, the key takeaway from this deep dive is that these new AI technologies, reasoning models, and RAG are showing real promise in improving both the quality and efficiency of legal work.
We're seeing some really exciting developments like RA's ability to reduce those hallucinations.
And the potential for reasoning models to really deepen the level of legal analysis.
But it's important to remember that these tools are not a magic bullet.
They still require human oversight and critical thinking, especially for complex tasks.
And the impact of the AI can vary depending on your skill level.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
And that brings us to a final thought for you to ponder.
Mhm.
Given these rapid advancements in AI, how do you think your understanding of what it means to be well-informed about the law will need to change?
That's a big question.
It is, but it's one we all need to be thinking about.
Whether you're a lawyer, a business leader, or just someone who wants to stay informed about the legal landscape.
These technologies are going to have a profound impact on how we access and understand legal information.
So it's time to start preparing for that future.
And we encourage you to keep exploring this topic, to stay up to date on the latest developments in AI and the legal field.
Look for more information on these reasoning models and a RAG-powered legal tech.
And we'd love to hear your thoughts on this, your questions, your concerns.
Because this is a conversation that's just beginning.
And we'll definitely be revisiting it in future deep dives.
So stay tuned.
The future of law is being written as we speak.
And AI is holding the pen.
That's one way to put it.
Thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time.
Stay curious.